Hi, welcome back to OvoPro app. So last video we have seen item creation and warehouse creation. So and creating shed and flocks. So now I will show you how to add the purchase. So here in the procurement module you can see the third module where we have procurement module. So in that one we have create supplier, we have purchases and we have purchase report. So before doing any of the transactions, for example daily entry or medicine vaccines or birds we need to add, so we need to have a purchase for that. So if we have an inventory then only we can proceed with the entries. So it is liable to I'm encouraging you all to first purchase all the things which are required. So I'll just create on purchases. So this is the purchase display page. So if any purchases are, if you have already done, it will show here. I'll just see if any purchases are there. I'm selecting the from date and to date, so that see I have done two purchases, so it is showing for me. So from 111 to 512 I have selected the date. So now I want to have some more purchases. So what I will go to add here. I'll click on add. So this add page, add purchase will come. So the date is there. So what date you want to purchase, so that date you have to select here. Okay, so that date, this is invoice number, this is book invoice number, which is manually entered in your book or somewhere, so that has to be entered here. Okay, so select the supplier. So here suppliers Godrej Agrovet, so this is the default supplier. So and own feed mill, if you have a feed mill and you have already selected while registration that you have own feed mill, then that supplier already will be created and shown here. Or else if you have created suppliers before, then it will show here in the selecting the supplier. So I have already created a Sandeep agencies supplier manually, so it is showing here. So how to add a supplier now, because direct before going to purchase, so we need to add the suppliers. So I'll just show you. Go to home icon, and here we already have a create supplier one option in the first option of in procurement module. Create supplier, I will click. So here as you can see, I told Godrej Agrovet, which is already a default one, and own feed mill which I have, so I have already created that. It's automatically created when my farm is created in the OvoPro app, and Sandeep agency I have created earlier. Now I want to create another supplier, so I'll go to add, but I'll click on add. So this create supplier ad will come for me. So I need to enter the supplier name. So here please enter the supplier name, whichever that supplier you are taking from, whether it's a birds or whatever the feed or medicine vaccine. So from which supplier you are taking anything, you are purchasing anything, so that you add the supplier name. So I am just adding some birds supplier. Okay, billing address, so the complete address has to be entered here, not the small thing. So I'm just adding number 507. So Iblur, Belandur. So the complete address of your supplier Bengaluru I'm adding. So billing address, so if it's the same, you can add the same. The shipping address is same, you can add it. You can just click on the shipping address same as billing address, so that it will copy from billing address and put it here. Or if it's a different one, you need to add that shipping address where it has to be shipped. The phone number, you need to enter the supplier phone number. I'm adding a dummy number, don't add dummy number, please add the actual numbers. So town bar village, so where it is, so what's state the supplier is from, and GST number. So this is GST number, I'm adding it just for the reference. So I actually add the exact GST number so that it will be good. So it will be 15 characters. So please add the actual GST number. So remarks you can add birds supplier or any remarks that you want to give to that supplier, and if you save. So if you save now, so it will save and it will come back to display page. So bird supplier. So like this. So I have creating the supplier before purchases. So once all your suppliers are created, so the master is ready now. So you can directly go to purchases and click on add. So add book invoice. So then create a so select the whichever the required supplier for that purchase, whichever you are doing. Okay, bird supplier example. So I have selected a supplier bar vendor bird supplier. Now I am adding item. Click on add item, select the description layer birds. It will come as units in numbers. So how much quantity? Some 1500. I'll just add for example some 32 rupees. Okay, so what warehouse it is, whether you want to purchase it to the warehouse or you want to purchase it to the shed. So it is not mandatory that you should purchase only for the warehouse or only for the shed. It can be anything. So how you maintain the stock, based on that you can purchase to that warehouse or shed. So I am selecting shed now. So shed 2, which I have already created in earlier videos, and I will be creating, I'll select the flock. So layer birds I am adding. I'll just save this. So one item is already showing here. It is added to my cart. I will add one more item with the same supplier. So I will add some layer grower feed, some quantity about 10,000, so about 12.5 rupees. So I will add this to feed warehouse, or I can directly add it to the shed 2 also. There is no restriction that I need to add to the only shed 2 or warehouse. So if you have selected a feed warehouse, then flock is not mandatory. Flock is not mandatory. For example, I'll select shed 2. So if I save now, it will ask for me flock is mandatory. See, please flock, select flock, because flock is mandatory. If it's a warehouse, feed warehouse, then flock is not mandatory. So if I click save, directly it will come to the add page of purchase. So second item also I have added it to my cart. I will add one more item. So where I will add for some citizen, what 150 medicine I have added, right? So that one. So how much quantity? Some 15 quantity I will add. So about 12 rupees. So this one I will add it to shed 2. So as shed 2 I have selected. So the flock is mandatory. So we need to have the flock. Then save this. So this also saved now. So it came into the cart. Now vehicle number, where I am sending it. So who is the driver name? You need to add. So remarks, sending it to shed 02. So like this you can add the remarks and you can save it. Once it is saved, so per date, so date you need to check, because this date is whenever if you are doing any daily entry or something, if you purchase today and for example December 5th, and if you are adding the daily entry for 1st, then it will not allow, because the stock will be available on 5th, not on the 1st. So whenever the stock should be there before you entering any of the entries. So I'll just add it, purchase it to on the 1st. Okay, now I'll click on save. So purchase is inserted. So if you see, so my purchase is already inserted now. So if you click on I button here, the I is there. So if you click, it will show what purchases you have done for that. So what date it is, what purchase number, so what is the supplier, who is the supplier, and what categories you have added, what quantity and all, it will show here in the purchase. So this is adding the purchase, okay, and viewing. And once you delete icon is there, once you delete, it will be deleted from your entry, like your database. Okay, so this is the purchase entry. If you come back to home screen, then you will come to home. So this is all about the adding the purchase, adding the supplier, and then the purchases for your transactions. Hope you got the thing. So we'll see some other transactions in the next video.